The Real Monica Adams Show is brought to you by Xist Stretch. Stop by for your free consultation and 30-minute introductory stretch today.
And we welcome you and Xist Stretch, again, our title sponsor for the Real Monica Adams Show. You see it right there. The first stretch is on them, so get in there like many others have. There are 2 locations, by the way. They're located in the St. Louis Hills area and in Arnold, Missouri. What benefits will you get from being professionally stretched? Well, we're going to talk about it today on this Wellness Wednesday. In fact, we're going to talk about pain and discomfort. We'll talk about aging and how it will benefit you as we are going through our generations. And as well, it is Parkinson's Awareness Month. And that gentleman right there, he actually talked to us on the grand opening. And then yesterday, I want to thank my husband and my business partner, Afan Wahid, for going over with Tricia. Rich, thank you so much for letting us be there and witness the incredible transformation that takes place when you are being stretched. So I don't care whether you have bad back, bad knees, bad hips. Again, the discomfort and the pain shouldn't be there. That's not the way you should be walking around. So get into Xist Stretch. Check them out, xiststretch.com, at Xist Stretch. And we're going to talk with Tricia Rhodes, who is one of their top stretch therapists. She is our guest today, and we'll be breaking all of that down for you. So welcome into the show. Looking forward to starting your day with a little positivity. We've got some news you can use. We have weather, which, by the way, all throughout the United States, we're seeing these crazy patterns and some flooding possibility coming into the Missouri area. So we will be watching later into this afternoon and this evening as we go into tomorrow. We'll talk about that, to the Blues and the Cardinals. And did you watch The Voice? There is a tie to St. Peters, Missouri. I can't wait to tell you all about that. All right, let's get into the weather first of all. As I told you, just a little bit about what you can expect today. You can see the red. This is from our friends over at KMOV until we check in with our aspiring meteorologist, Beckett Moore, on Friday. And we'll see how things look going into the weekend. But some scattered storms are possible. 82 degrees. We have the Cardinals in action with a low of 65 tonight, a little breezy as well. Tomorrow, some afternoon storms to the south mainly. 83. Friday, some late storms. They're getting up almost near 90 degrees again. Saturday, morning storms, but look at that change in temperature. 67 for the high instead of near 90. And Sunday looks absolutely gorgeous. No mention of rain. 63 degrees. We get into Monday and Tuesday, also beautiful. 72 on Monday, 76 on Tuesday. And then just some slight chances of rain moving back in for midweek as we get to Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Highs will be in the upper 70s to mid 70s by the time we get to next Friday. All right, that's weather for you. With regards to the news, I did see one of our viewers make a mention of this yesterday in the comment section. I wanted to make sure that we did that at the start of the news today. So let's remember this gentleman for all he did for us. Captain Tommy Shine of the Wentzville Fire Department has passed away after a medical emergency. Now, do you all remember the movie Breakthrough? It was tied to Lake St. Louis, Missouri, and this gentleman played a big part in that. He was partly known for the heroic save of a teenager from the frozen lake in Lake St. Louis. He died Sunday night after suffering a medical emergency, according to his wife, Brittany. Many fire departments extended their condolences to the Wentzville Fire Department after the news was released, sharing posts all over social media. Captain Shine inspired that movie after his heroic rescue of a teenager who had fallen through the ice of a frozen lake back, I can't believe it's been this long, in 2015. You remember the movie with Christine Metz? The captain later opened a charity after facing a near-death experience himself in December of 2024. Rest in peace, sir, and thank you so much for your almost 25 years with the Wentzville Fire Department. Well, now we're going to go from fire to police. Can you imagine drones helping out with the St. Charles County Police Department? Well, this is a possibility. They are proposing a drone as first responder program. DFR would deploy drones from docking stations, allowing them to get to calls before responding officers. I love this. The drone would feed back live aerial video to the county's real-time intelligence and information center. Then that would then be able to tell officers on the ground what's going on at the scene and provide information before they even arrive. The drones would be docked on the roofs of schools and municipal buildings, fire stations, and other community partners. They're developing this drone as first responder program designed to enhance public safety response across St. Charles County. This is according to to a memorandum that was sent to the St. Charles County Council. The drone access would also allow officers to get information on whether or not a response is actually needed, potentially saving time so that officers can respond to other calls. As we know, many departments all throughout our area, they need more help. And this is just absolutely incredible. When a high priority call would come in, it would take off, travel up to 3.5 miles away in under 90 seconds. The program introduced at the St. Charles County Council meeting just the last couple of days. I love this, and I hope that others think about this, or maybe there are other cities and states that are already using that, but I think that's a great idea. You, of course, can weigh in on that. Not happy about this one. Your cell phones prices going up. New cell phone prices, in fact, expected to rise 14% this year, but there are steps to make the cell phones last longer. The International Data Corporation says prices on new cell phones are expected to rise 14%. So this means you might pay $100 to even $200 more than you can expect. We're already paying in the thousands, right? It's these little mini computers for us. May only be $150. Typically the high end about $300 or so, versus a phone being $800 at the low end. New $1,400 and even above. Industry experts say AI data centers are buying up much of the supply of memory chips, leaving a shortage for manufacturers of cell phones and other consumer electronics, and that is causing a problem. Now, however, we are telling you that they're looking at trying to get batteries to last longer instead of draining as fast as they have been. And again, getting them to stay around longer so you're not having to spend thousands of dollars, every 2-3 years. All right, let's move on to Warrenton, Missouri. Officials approving 75% personal property tax abatement for a multi-billion-dollar data center project. And I know they've been up in, kind of controversy for a data center in Festus, Missouri. Well, the city of Warrenton, they approved their 75% personal property tax abatement for a data center project planned for the western side of Warrenton off Interstate 70. They voted 4-2 last night to approve that. All right, let's talk about the Census Bureau and your last name. Sometimes we talk about first names, we talk about dog special names, but what about the last names? I haven't talked about that, I don't think, ever on the show. There is a Census Bureau revealing the most popular and fastest growing last names in the United States. What do you think? Smith, that's been around for a long time. Johnson, Williams, Brown, and Jones remaining the top 5 last names in the United States in 2020 as they were in 2010, according to a tally. Most of the fastest growing last names from 2010 to 2020 were Asian. The top 3 of those were Zhang, Liu, and Wang. In the 21st century, Asians have been the fastest growing of the country's largest racial or ethnic groups, and they now make up 7% of the U.S. population. Now, the census tallies show that the most popular male first names at the start of this decade: Michael, John, James, David, and Robert. Most common female: Mary, Maria, Jennifer, Elizabeth, and Patricia. And I like to do that story because if any of you know of someone who maybe just announced they were having a baby, they may want to pick those names as the first. Obviously, you can't pick your last name, but you can pick them as your first name. All right, I mentioned The Voice, and how exciting is this? St. Peters, Missouri was all over The Voice. Did she win? Well, if you watched the show last night, the winner, not our wonderful girl from St. Peters, but Alexia J. from Team Adam. First ever Battle of the Champions. So she won, but we have a girl from St. Peters, Missouri. Did you watch Liv Ciara, a student at St. Dominic High School? She finished as the runner-up in the season 29 finale, which aired last night. She was Team Kelly. This was her second time on the show, by the way. She previously auditioned for season 28, but did not receive a chair turn. So she went from not getting a chair turn to all the way to second. So way to go. I don't think this is the last time we're going to hear the name Liv Ciara. In fact, I'd love to look out. Liv, or anybody that knows her, let's get her on the show and talk about her experience, because that's what happened a couple of years ago with the incredible Ruby Lee, and we became wonderful friends. So let's get her on the show. All right, in Blues and Cardinals news, again, great news for you Blues fans. 7-5, the Blues beat the Pittsburgh Penguins. So now it's the Blues and the Mammoth. That'll be tomorrow at 6:30. Cardinals are in action against Cleveland in town here at Busch Stadium. It's a noontime game, actually 12:15 first pitch. So they used to call that the businessman's special, right? Let's go into the National Day of calendar. Here's what's on tap for you. National Laundry Day. Is it stacking up? It's time to do it. National Glazed Spiral Ham Day. It is Purple Up Day. Jackie Robinson Day, number 42, right? National Take a Wild Guess Day. It is National Tax Day. Did you get them in yet? We literally are getting them in at the wire. National Rubber Eraser Day. National Titanic Remembrance Day. And it is also World Art Day. So there is a rundown for you of everything on tap for you that we consider is news you can use or things that I think you would want to know about. Let me go to the comments before we bring Tricia Rhodes in, talking about each and every one of you, because we're all aging, right? But how are you feeling in your body? Pain, discomfort. That's not how you should be walking around. That is not how we want you feeling. So comments, let's see. Christy, good morning. Linda, good morning. Julie says, good morning, friends. I love that. Luann, Julie Purcell. Keep an eye on the skies this afternoon, as we mentioned already, into the evening. Linda, look at, so Julie's being my little cub reporter. Linda, I did watch The Voice. She's amazing, and she will go far. We have an outside work event this afternoon. She says, thumbs down. Good morning, Babs. Hope you're having a great start to your day as well. April Abenizio, how are you? I can't wait to show your beautiful feature next Monday, Midwest Thermography. If you haven't heard us talking about it, we will be there and showcasing everything, literally from head to watching over on Instagram, Charles and T-Roll. I see you over there as well. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to take a break. Before we do so, I want to thank the beautiful Bridget Childress. Bridget is with Childress Legal Nurse Consulting. So remember, she's come in, she's talked about being a nurse, and she still is, but the difference is that she opened a year ago her own business called Childress Legal Nurse Consulting. So she's the one that works with attorneys to make sense of the chaos of the medical records. Let her do that for you instead of you having to do it. So please reach out to her. Again, you can see there on the screen. It's childresslnc.com. She is a sponsor, by the way, of our Testament Tuesday. So today, when we do our devotional, it will be brought to you by the incredible Bridget Childress. She's just one of many of our sponsors that have joined the Real Monica Adams Show, including our title sponsor, Xist Stretch. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I want you to go over to Xist Fitness as well. That's located in Concord or in Arnold. We'll talk all about that. Tricia Rhodes is our guest when we return.
What if you could start your day feeling loose, relaxed, and ready? Your therapy right in your backyard. No commute, no appointments, just warmth, relief whenever you need it. Sore muscles recover faster, tight joints loosen up, tension you carry all day, gone. Relax with your family or friends, or work out with our Michael Phelps Edition Swim Spas. Worried about maintenance? We have factory-trained service nearby whenever you need it. Plus, we're here for you long-term if you have any questions or need to refill supplies. You can even test spas at our showrooms. Spas and More, A+ rated, locally owned for 20 years. We put the ah in spa.
Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. Hope you're having a great start to your Wednesday. If not, let's see if we can switch things around for you. Yes, a lot of you wake up in the morning and you're aching. You didn't have a good night's sleep, or you just jump out of bed, which Tricia and I mentioned last week you shouldn't do. You should stretch. But there's one thing about stretching on your own and another thing about being professionally stretched. If you didn't see last Wednesday's show, I highly recommend you go back and watch that, either on the platform you're on right now. If you're on Instagram, though, it goes away after the show ends. So your best bet is to to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe, I know sounds like you're paying for something. You're not. You just click on the button so that you get notified when we go live. And then you can look at the library of shows. So somebody asked me yesterday, is there a way to see all of the shows you've done? Yes, on YouTube. So we are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, Rumble, LinkedIn, and Twitch. Wherever you would like to watch, please do so, and then share with others and let them know where they can watch as well. All right, let's welcome in our guest, Tricia Rhodes. Again, she is one of the stretch therapists with Xist Stretch. Thanks for coming in again.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm great.
She saw my husband yesterday, by the way, in his police uniform. I have to give a shout out to Jim. Thank you so much for helping out with us yesterday. So I had met one of your many customers and clients that come in. I want to thank Rich, by the way, for letting us come yesterday and film. And the reason I wanted to do it is April is Parkinson's Awareness Month. And so you and I had talked on the day of the grand opening about how you've been working with Rich and his wife, her name? Tammy. She was talking about how they both come in, but she had witnessed on the table when she is stretching Rich that his tremors subside. So I asked Jim to really zoom in on that. So when it started, you could definitely tell them, mainly with his hands, his foot a little bit as well. But as she went through and stretched him, he really zoomed in near the end, and you could see it was barely moving at all. Did you notice that from the very first day that you stretched him, or did it take a little bit?
I was a little, stressed out myself having him because of just his condition. And I just, you always want to do your best and try to help, because that's literally my goal, is just to help and give them some sort of relief or recovery from anything. But initially, I was just trying to get him to move.
Sure.
So with Parkinson's, they become so stiff, and any sort of mobility gives them relief, even for just a small moment of time. And I have 30 minutes with them, so I try to do it as much as I possibly can. And from where I began to now is where I'm starting to see more and more highlights to every session. And one of those is the lack of tremors. But initially, when I first went, I didn't realize what I was really going to experience. And seeing the tremors, and it took me about like the second or third to really realize, I'm like, wait, he's not even moving in my hands, and then moving, and then as I'm on his feet, his hands, but then when I'm on his hands and his shoulders, then I would see the feet start to tremor again, but slightly. But then towards the end of the session, he's just completely relaxed and in his own recovery and peace. It's just wonderful.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you said that, because again, some people are probably hearing this going, okay, I don't want to be broken, right? I don't want something to happen to me. I'm already dealing with this disease. But there are so many studies that have shown, so many physicians. And again, as I mentioned, when we do these wellness and fitness segments, always check with your doctor, always follow under their care. They've been working with you. They know you best. But boxing, stretching,
He does go to
working out.
boxing as
I
well.
know.
Yeah.
I love that. My dear friend who's going to be on with us next Tuesday, Timmy Zell from Fox 2. Tim has talked about his journey with Parkinson's so far. He does all those things. I am going to find out how he's being stretched, because I want him to get to Tricia. But yeah, boxing. So Rocksteady Boxing, that's been around for a long, long time. I used to train with Dr. Willie, as a lot of you know. He used to be on our show, and he was having all of his seniors that I was personal training at Friendship Village. He's like, let's get them boxing, these people that had Parkinson's or some other issues. And sure enough, we would see the changes in it, which again is fascinating. So if someone that you know was just diagnosed, I want you to be hearing this. So yes, everything's tightening up on them. So I watched from the progression of the beginning of you stretching him to the end of the session, which 30 minutes. And sure enough, not only did I see the tremors subside, but also looked at how unbelievably flexible you
his
got
mobility.
him. Did that shock Jim?
Yeah, and every time he comes, it's different. So he will confess, I'm really, really stiff, Trish. I'm like, all right, let's just enjoy, just relax. Let's try to get you. And the subtle movements. But with the FST that we do, it's all that dance mobility. We're never just sitting there and holding the muscle. We're really working through the fascia to get you to move better and breaking it up to get more blood flow. And that's really our goal, is to get that blood to move, to have you more flexible. And it works.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that there were two gentlemen there watching this, right? Because I want guys, girls, kids, seniors, all of you to know when you're walking around in pain and discomfort, which is what we're going to talk about in just a little bit, that is not the way the body should be. But people have just gotten used to it and believe that that's the way it was.
It is. I'm just aging, or
Yes.
it comes with age. I hear that a lot, and I'm like, just get on the table.
Please. And the first stretch is free. I mean, why would you not get in? Again, if you're just tuning in, this is Tricia Rhodes. We're talking about Xist Stretch, and we are proud to have them as a part of the Real Monica Adams Show. You're going to see me and Trish together talking about a lot of topics. In fact, I'd love to know if there's a topic you would love for us to talk about that has to do with how the body is moving. Xiststretch.com. I mentioned that both of the gentlemen that were watching this take place, one of them is one of our heroes. They have a hero program, by the way, which has a discount for our first responders.
Yes.
Thank you for that, by the way.
You're welcome. I didn't do it, but
Well, thank you and your team. It really matters. So if you have any questions about that, or you know someone that has Parkinson's, I'd love for them to get in. I'd love for them to experience something very similar. Now, we did stress when we talked with Rich and Tammy on the grand opening day, he feels that throughout the rest of the day, maybe even into the next day. We're not saying that it's taking the disease away.
oh no, not at all.
Stressing
not at all. Small victories, and if even like I said, for that day. Living with that disease is not the best, and my heart goes out to them. But if you can any of your loved ones, just think about it. If you can take 1 hour or even 24 hours of them not having that constant stress and the tremors and the stiffness, it's a win. It's a win.
I was just at a funeral for my cousin that passed away last week, and one of my cousins has Parkinson's, and I've really seen the decline in him. So when I saw him and he was just trying to barely walk along, again, I just want this information to be shared with as many people as possible, because if that hasn't been something that you've thought about, maybe just try it, right?
Anything. I mean, when you are diagnosed with any multiple diseases, you are out there as loved ones or just you in general going, I mean, if you want me to drink that, if you want me to do that exercise, something to help me or prolong my peace. That's anything. Just give me something.
Let me ask this, because I did have somebody that wasn't able to watch live today, and she wanted to know, for someone who has lupus or MS or fibromyalgia, have you worked with patients that have seen similar?
I have a woman that when she can come, she has MS.
Okay.
She can walk a little, assisted with a walker, but mainly she sits mostly all day. She's there. She gets massages regularly, but I see it not so much like if for muscle wise, the stiffness in her hips.
Okay.
She completely lays there and lets me move her around, and for her, the pain that she feels. But MS is a tricky disease as well because of the neurological, where if I moving her hips, she's like, wow, I can feel it all in my neck. And we have, again, great conversation. And but I talk her through it and really just moving and breaking up the fascia so there's not such intense pain, because just imagine, bedridden or just even sitting there. They don't get that physical touch, if not those movements often.
Well, and you imagine that people that are suffering with any of these, and again, you could list whatever you're going through, but sitting and not doing anything is not good.
I mean, anyone who's been sick in a hospital or just you've had the flu and you're in bed, you
want to move
3
again.
days, your back is aching, your
Yes.
shoulders are aching, all of that. And just imagine having to do that more than just those 3 to 7 days.
Right. And again, I know a lot of you that have suffered with fibromyalgia and get frustrated. I trained a lady long time ago, and her doctor had said, oh, no, you can't do this. You can't lift weights. It'll make it worse. And I was like, no.
I used to teach body pump in one of the gyms, and I had a woman that had fibromyalgia, and she was talking with me. And, there's limitations of what exercises she can do and how she was moving. But, after class, they're like, oh, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
The husband would be like, my wife has just changed, she's just happier, you know. I mean, it's still there, but
Sure.
just the everyday movements and the blood flowing, you know, like the tingling and all that. It's just great. Yeah.
Again, today we're going to go a little bit more in depth about pain and discomfort and aging. I do know some of you that went in already from last week. Thank you for going in. Again, 2 locations, by the way. So the one that you all were asking last week, where is Tricia? Mainly at the St. Louis Hills location, and there's the locations for you on the screen. Also, though, they are inside of Xist Fitness, which is in Arnold. Xiststretch.com, by the way, is the website for you to go to find out more information, or on their social media at Xist Stretch, and they're on several platforms now besides Facebook and on Instagram. You can also find them on LinkedIn. You can find them on YouTube. You can find them I believe we also have them on Pinterest, etc. Just follow Xist Stretch and be seeing all the things that are taking place. So from everyone, right? Pain, discomfort, when they're getting in. And I think this was one of the questions, I believe Rich, thank you, by the way, for going in, because he was the one that was writing in last week saying, all right, if this works, like, I'll scream from the top of the mountain, because he's had so many problems with his back and all different surgeries that then had him so tight in his hamstrings and in his back that there was just constant spasms that took place. So he went in for his free stretch last week, and then remember the very next day, I think he had knee replacement surgery. So he at least wanted to get in and feel a little bit better before that. But now it's going through that.
Okay.
But so as far as trauma to the body, pain, discomfort, let's talk about that, because I think that really goes out to all the population of what people feel. So walk them through that healing journey. So we're letting it begin with the first stretch. And then I think a lot of people's mind is, when will I start to feel something subside?
I get often.
That's a question you get.
I have those that help me. I've been doing everything that I possibly can. I've had people give me their phone and show me their X-rays. I've had people show me.
They call her Dr. Trish.
I'm like, what did your doctor recommend? What is your doctor suggesting, you know, what I can do with you? That's the first one. But most of all, it can be as small as, I went hiking over the weekend and my calves and my back, my quads, my hips, my shoulder, like all of that. But first I go, it's really situational. From like how severe of your pain is, it can simply just be the fascia is just extremely tight around your hips, that you stretch your muscle and you think you're doing what you need to be doing, but you're not stretching all of it. Always like posterior, anterior, like everything involved. But then it can be extreme, like you've like an MS or somebody who's not stretched their entire life, the older generation that's really mostly sitting, not really being active. My coworker Claire had a woman, I'm jumping subjects, but she was on, and she was like, I don't really move. And she's like, well, do you walk? She's like, no, I really don't. I pretty much sit. I walk to the fridge. But like, so that would be more severe, but like small cases of really getting into the fascia and breaking up in that small movements. For me personally, I'm very active. I stretch a lot daily. When I first got the FST stretched, I was like, okay, and they're like, everyone's looking at you like, how do you feel? Like, is this gonna be like mind-blowing change? And I'm like, oh, I feel okay. Like, I mean, I felt it, but I was like, it wasn't really to the next morning, as athletic as you are as well. You wake up and you always have, you know where the pain's gonna come from. You know the ache that you're gonna wake up. You get off the bed and you're like, okay. I got up and did my normal getting ready, pour a cup of coffee, and then I'm like, wow, something's missing. And I couldn't pinpoint it. I was like, I just feel off. And then I was like, holy crap. I'm like, oh my like, I was like, all the things that I normally feel in the morning was completely gone.
24 hours later.
24 hours later. Then I went into the next session of training, getting all this stuff, and I'm like, wow. And then, you know, you get a different body part really focused on, and then I never had my neck stretched that way, and then all the, it was like posterior, like in my external rotation in my shoulder. I was like, always there.
Yep.
You just go on with life, and you're like, not that it's always going to happen, but you're just hoping it just falls off, like it just goes away. But it didn't. And then that day, like the next day, I was like, I reached for something, and I was like, oh my,
You had this range of motion you
the
didn't
range
have.
of motion I've never had in like years. And I was like, oh, and I called my boss. I'm like, this is some voodoo stuff.
What'd y'all do to me?
So bizarre. I was like, I drank the juice. I was like, this is great. But for somebody that in their head, I stretch, I do all the things that I'm supposed to do. I work out the way I'm supposed to do. This was just mind blowing, changing. And I was like, I want to, like, anyone
I
that
want
can
more
get,
of this. Yes.
I want to get everyone that I can possibly do and teach them and work with them. So, but going back to that lady that was on Claire's table, we're talking about small wins. You know, right now, my speech for her, I'm like, I'm just going to try to see how I can move you, how your rotation is and your mobility. I'm going to do what I can with you today. We're just going to sit with it, see how you feel the next day, and then we will reevaluate to come back. I want them to come back.
Absolutely.
But then I do have some people that when they leave, I'm thinking, I hope they don't be like, oh, fireworks happen. Like, I can't reach. I can't really touch my toes anymore. Oh, this stuff's, bleh, this is nothing. I'm like, small steps.
Absolutely. You can't look, just like a personal trainer would say, you didn't put the 50 pounds on in 24 hours. 50 pounds isn't coming off in one day. You can't have all of the pain and the trauma that has happened for years go away like that, but you will feel a difference.
Absolutely. You'll feel, and then sometimes it's just then endorphins, like you just feel, my pinpoint word is always free. Like, I feel just free. Like, I'm not held back. I just have like that range of motion, but it's a feeling that you can't really describe. I try my best, and everybody's different, but you'll just feel some sort of way that just stretching regular as what you did in like gym class, different.
And again, when we're talking about stretching, as she mentioned, she stretches every day, but there's a difference between you stretching and foam rolling, which we haven't gotten into yet, than it is to be stretched by someone like Tricia. Again, FST certified. They all are, by the way. And so you will have these changes. I think I just saw something come in from Richard. So let me look at comments for you real quick. Actually, we'll pull them up here. But again, we're talking about reducing pain, reducing discomfort, some of the key benefits of it. Okay, Richard just said Xist is awesome. Trish, welcome back to the show. So when we are resting during the day, what is the best position to be in? Laying down, sitting straight up with your knees at 90 degrees?
In reference to like if you're just watching TV.
Yeah, maybe to not put ourselves in.
I think most of it is what FST really helps, not so much the muscle, is it changes your posture. So what you normally sit in without and not having the mobility, you're hunched over, your back is arched. It's a direction even with personal training when somebody's like squatting, like looking for that chair with proper posture to sit down. We all know your shoulders up, down, round, and back, and that is your set position. No one's really going to sit with that because it's really, everything's generated through the core. So with that lacking, but with the stretching and the FST where we can change your posture through your hips and your shoulders, that is like game changer. But I mean, who really lays down during the day? Well, as much as that.
If there, how about it? Well, I would say, and it depends, and if you want to give more context to that, Richard, go ahead. I saw Julie say, great question. Maybe it's the fact of when they are coming home from work and then they're plopping down and they're watching TV.
Sitting is good. But I like mobility. So, sitting for long periods of time, maybe not good. It's kind of like that get up, walk around kind of feeling. But always, I'm like shoulders. If you can like basically posture, move your shoulders as much as you can and press back. Chin in, good do.
All the things that we're supposed to be doing. I will tell you, I worked, I don't even know, 15 probably hours yesterday. I felt it so bad. And you are in my head constantly. I just need a chauffeur to drive me over there so I can finish some things and then get over. I was like, oh, Jim's over there. I wish I could be stretched right now. I felt every ounce of sitting in front of a computer, working, editing things up, getting ready for the show, getting ready for multiple things that are coming up later in the week, and it was burning. Right now I can feel that my low back, it's all feeling it. So these are the things. So I was like, I'm so glad we're covering this today. All of you that are on the computer and this starts to happen, all of our shoulders rounding, and then we're doing this, and we're scrolling, and you're texting, and you're on the phone, and you're doing, yes. So I had a Fit 3D done on me. I think it's fascinating, by the way, because it, besides showing you your body fat percentage and lean mass and water and all of that, it also was showing posture. And it would show you from, is it, a half inch, an inch, 2 inch where your head is forward, that it shows you your balance and everything. So I think if you have one of those done, then you get in and stretch, and then you go back maybe a month or so later, have it done again. That gives you the aha moment of, oh my gosh, all those things in my posture, that my hip was up, my shoulder was up, have changed by what she's doing with you. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Again, questions, comments, let them come in. We'll go to those. If you have these and you are you're listening to all this and you can't, maybe you're driving, I want you to listen, don't watch. Listen, get to your place of business, wherever, send a comment in later or ask a question later. Don't think that if you watch and it's on, you're watching on replay, that you can't have me and Tricia see your question. We absolutely will. We'll make sure that we get to those. Everybody has seen it, everybody has heard, and we'll get to every one of your questions. Don't go anywhere. More with Xist Stretch and Tricia Rhodes when we return.
Welcome to the mobile Monica version of the Real Monica Adams Show at my favorite restaurant.
There's something about a coffee house that's just very warm and welcoming.
Gives you that sense of community.
What are you most proud of since you've opened it?
I cry easily. I'm thankful for everybody here.
You opened the door during the middle of the pandemic. You got the best Italian restaurant in the United States. Here in St. Louis, you put us on the map.
Does it scare you? You go through fear?
Terrifying.
So how do you get past the fear?
We find something to laugh about.
We also want to welcome aboard Garden View Care Centers, Chesterfield, Doherty Ferry, O'Fallon, Missouri. And besides the fact that I have been gushing on how much I absolutely love them, I've talked to some people who their moms and dads and grandma and grandpa are there. And the level of care that I witnessed, that my family witnessed, they said the exact same thing. So when it comes time for you to make the tough decision, because again, it gets to a point where you say, nope, I'm going to have mom live with me. I'm going to have dad live with me. Then it's suddenly realizing I can't give them the care that they deserve. And the thing that I really wanted to stress today is we're also doing them a disservice, because the activity level of what they get when they're at Garden View is what they need to stimulate their mind and their spirit. And we're talking about moving with me and Tricia today, right? It is so imperative. When they're at Garden View, I have been told by almost everyone that I know that's been there and that has maybe thought of going other places, that there's nothing like the activities that they do at Garden View. In fact, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in depth later this month. So don't wait to the last second. If it is nearing that time, I would highly recommend that you put your name on a list. And if they call you and you say, we're not ready, it's okay. They put you right back on that list. Garden View Care Centers, thank you so much for being a part of the show. And we're excited to continue our discussions with them. As I said, a little bit later on this month, they will be on with us. Again, Chesterfield, Doherty Ferry, and O'Fallon, Missouri. Check them out, gardenviewcares.com. Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. We care as well. That's why we're talking about getting you moving to the best ability that you possibly can. If you're just tuning in, Tricia Rhodes is our guest. Again, one of the top stretch therapists with Xist Stretch, located in St. Louis Hills and also inside of Xist Fitness. So I got further context from Richard. He said, I don't have a choice but to get off my feet several times a day for at least an hour at a time. So you're laughing about laying down, but sometimes I need to keep my legs straight and my core and back straight, but yet I can't be on my feet. So I have to lay down to achieve that, or get in my recliner like I am now, completely laid back, so I can stretch my shoulders and quads and these things. So that is what he means by that.
All right, great.
So, and then Bridget just said, Richard, restoration has been on my heart lately. And yes, rest is in restoration.
Yes.
So yeah, sometimes it hurts so bad that they just want to lay down.
Yeah,
But then they're wondering, am I in the wrong position?
I always say go to what your body is asking you to do. That's why I said when first thing in the morning, your body already immediately wants to stretch for you to get up. Mobility. So even if you're laying down, a lot of times it's just like the point flex with your feet, rotating your ankles, rotating your shoulders, crossing over, coming around. Mobility is where it is. If you're in that stiff position, it's just knowing your body and just trying to rotate through the hips, the ankles, and the shoulders.
And so we're aiding the work that you're doing because a lot of people, so we'll run through, by the way, memberships, because some of you have asked, okay, so what would it look like after I do my first stretch? They are 30-minute sessions, or you can combine and do a 60, but there's the breakdown for you. So do you have the majority of people do like twice a month or 4 times a month?
It depends on how, usually when they start, we encourage, and depending on how they're assessed, sometimes I'm just like, you're good, but let's just like keep this on a regular basis. So I'll like to see you twice a month. 2 sessions, you can use however you want to use them. But when people come in, the level of, we got to really work with you. We'll start you off with the 4 sessions a month, just so we can get you on a program and get what we need to get you that level where you can go to the maintain. And it's free to upgrade or downgrade. And whatever sessions are on your account, they're yours and you don't lose them.
And they roll into. So yes, so sometimes people will say, hey, Tricia, how many do I have? Oh yeah, you've got one you didn't use from last month.
I just had one gentleman, Graham, shout out to Graham.
Hi, Graham.
He was, when we first opened, he was like, I don't need an example, just sign me up. Like, I know this is going to work. He went away for surgery for a little bit. Now he's back. And so he sometimes comes in for an hour, and then other times he comes in for 30 minutes.
My body, I have a feeling that I would go, let's do, and knowing how busy I am, I would probably say, I'm here. Go ahead and keep stretching me for the hour.
Yeah.
Just kind of like when people doing massages. When I'm offered 75 to 90 minutes, I'm like, give me the 90 minutes.
I know. There's somebody else do 90. I'm not a 90 person, but.
Oh, I think I could do 2 hours. Yes. Anyway. So, by the way, and she mentioned this last week. So if someone's in the care of someone right now and they're doing chiropractic, they're doing acupuncture, they're doing massage, do it. And this, it all works together, and you all refer to each other.
And it with any, and again, I'm going to keep saying this in the fitness, there's so many classes out there and so many ways to work out that you don't know until you try it.
Yep.
So a lot of times you'll be like, oh, everyone's doing this, but you try something else and you're like, this works for me.
Yes.
And I would say that with any client that comes into the gym and they're not sure of what to do. And I said, what makes you happy? Like, what's going to get you into the gym? What is going to get you to move? Because if you're doing an exercise that you're dreading, like, oh, it's 5 a.m, I have to be on this treadmill, you're not going to come. You're going to talk yourself out of it.
Yes.
So if you go and there's a Zumba class at 5:30 in the morning and that's what makes you get up, do it. So
find what works for you.
Exactly.
Yes.
So sometimes you'll find the need, but otherwise there's, again, I'd say 99% of everyone that's on that table is like, that was the best experience I've had in my entire life.
And again, so we're talking about the pain and the discomfort, and some of you maybe we'll also go to athletes now. So you think of any type of injury that you have, it stays with you. If you don't, if you don't get in and have something done about it. So some people will just let it go. Oh, I'm fine. And then, my husband says this all the time. Everything that we did in sports or everything that we did when we were younger,
it's coming back.
It comes and then it rears its ugly head. If you dismissed it, and a lot of us did, it's the mentality of a coach telling you to fight through the pain.
Absolutely, yeah.
Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, yes, it makes you mentally tough, but then your body's feeling it. I mean, I don't know if what I'm feeling now has to do with that or if it's the trauma from the accident, still 4 years ago. So I'm going to have myself start getting filmed when I'm in with Tricia because
So excited.
I'm excited because here's the thing, and I do want to address this. For any of you that have been in a car accident, you are fearful of things of, like, I will tell you, there's a lot of people that their first time going to a chiropractor, they're so fearful of I don't know if that's good for me. Oh, they're going to do this to my neck.
Even the sound
I know,
freaks
it
people
freaks
out.
you out.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I feel better, right? And we just put all these things together. There may be many of you that are feeling the same way when it comes to, oh, I don't know if I should be moved like that. What's going to happen to my hip? What's going to happen to my knees? What's going to happen to my body and my neck? For me, when I was going into chiropractor after the accident, sure enough, and he even kept telling me, you got to relax, which you will probably experience where, trust me, Monica.
There's people that hold onto that table for dear life, and you're strapped in. You're strapped in through the legs, and sometimes double strapped. And I'll do certain moves that actually fold you over, and I just look back. I'm like, just relax. Like, I've never lost a person on this table ever. No one's fallen off, but it makes you feel like you are. And they're the set of fear in some people, and so other times I look back and they're just like completely
Well,
relaxed.
she told us last week some
Yeah.
people have fallen asleep and started to snore, which I thought was funny. I do know what you're talking about because on the day of the grand opening, I watched all these different people getting their first stretch free, and I'm looking over, I'm like, whoa, they're gonna fall. They're way over here. And they're like, no, look, I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing here. We're not pulling them off the table. But it is fascinating to see. So when you are pulling, what's happening?
Okay, well, basically, we're on the main move. We hover over the heels, and we just do a certain specific lean back, which is giving that subtle traction throughout the hips, which kind of separates within the joint. I mean, the joint itself shouldn't be compressed. It should float, and that allows that blood flow to happen. The fascia is what surrounds it and gets bound up, and that usually, specifically the older generation, I mean, you move and you get moving, but the more you sit, as you get older, the fascia just binds up a little bit more and more until where you're very stiff.
Yeah.
So we have to move that, and that's what we're doing. Constant movements and circles, and as we're giving that traction to stretch the joint and the muscle together.
And so she just mentioned our older generation. That's where I want to take the conversation now. Because if you think of younger kids, they're running around, hopefully. They're not sitting on their, cell phones and their tablets and just... They should be moving, right? Well, at least our generations were out there. They need to be more. So make sure that they are. But what we find is as we're getting older, it's more and more sedentary. So we're talking about our older moms, dads, our grandmas, grandpas, etc. So for a lot of you, you might be in that generation or you might be thinking about them. They are probably in the mindset of, okay, I'm older. This is just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the aging generation, those that you have worked with, and comments that you've had from them once you've worked with them?
I think the older generation is more appreciative of what we are doing than anybody that comes in. One, the sense of loss that they have, and kind of, I wouldn't say given up, but it's that, like, you see it. I treasure the day I used to teach silver sneakers classes. That was literally my favorite in the whole entire world. I was excited to go teach it. It was the most rewarding afterwards. But just the small gains of having somebody, and it's the chair fitness, and having somebody just sit there and then work with them for so long and then finally get them to like stand on their own without holding on is it brings tears to your eyes.
It does.
So it's the same concept when somebody in that age group comes and they're how stiff they are. They don't want to feel that anymore. They feel like this is the end. It's not going to get any better. I'm not saying like we are miracle workers, but just having to break up that fascia for somebody who experiences that pain, waking up and moving, and limited movement of not feeling that stiffness and constant, especially in the neck and the shoulders, is just, it's so great.
It is. And I will tell you, I mean, since 1999, I've worked with a lot of different clients, but it is the most rewarding when you see that generation.
And they say, like, my body doesn't move like that. I'm like, let me move it for you.
Right. Well, they also don't think they have the strength, so they think they only can handle 1 pound. I remember this one lady going, "Oh, honey, I can't lift 3 pounds." And I'm like, "I believe you can. You do? Yeah, let's do this together," right? And so you give them hope. You give them purpose when so many of them feel like they've lost purpose. So yes, if you are in that generation, understand there are many things that can be done. And so if you are, let's address people who say, "Oh, I've got arthritis really bad. How would this help my arthritis?"
I have arthritis. Tons of it.
I think we all have some, and then some have even more.
Yeah.
Besides, obviously, Rich with the Parkinson's, and so if you just tuned in, you missed that beginning part, be sure to go back and watch when the show wraps up. But what other aha moments or incredible testimonials have you received since you've been doing this?
One of it is in the beginning of when we opened, shout out to Mary Lou. She her gait's off. She has a hip replacement that probably needs to be revisited.
Okay.
But can't bend over, pick her keys. She can't really move. She waits. She's talked about how when her kids come over, they put her tubs of decorations away for her 'cause she can't really move. Worked with her and. Mostly just kind of trying to let's see how you move. Because once you get to that, it's I'm walking, I'm going to the store, whatever, and then they throw their stuff down, they go home and they sit in the chair because I'm exhausted. This was painful, but you can see the pain in her eyes of I don't want to feel like this anymore. Right. I do not want to be in pain. I moved her around. Never has anyone probably moved her in those positions in a very long time.
Because I don't think they can.
Yes, and great conversation. I think I cherish that as much too because I get to see, but I get to move her while she's talking. And then now from the initial where she can actually have a conversation with me without even thinking about it. But it was maybe 3 or 4 sessions in. She went to the front desk, put her purse down, and she was, we're scheduling her for her next time, and her keys had dropped to the floor. Oh. And I'm in a big conversation. I'm like, so next Tuesday, is that great? And then the keys drop, and she not even a thought in her head, goes to pick it up and goes, I just picked up my keys. I'm like, yes,
you just gave me a chill.
My boss was there too. She goes, Mary Lou, what did you? She's like, we're all like, and she's like, I'm telling you, this is great. Like, I can't believe I just did that.
Right? Because you were so used, and Richard, I think you're probably going to feel like this. You're so used to the body not being able to do things and almost asking someone, can you get it for me? Or they have those reachers.
Yeah, or hesitating to be like, oh, I have, it wasn't even a thought. She just dropped and picked it up.
She did the bend and snap.
Yep, she did.
Let's see. Bridget said, do you have any plans of a location closer to St. Charles?
That would be wonderful for me.
Yeah, right? That's where she's coming from.
I live in St. Charles. And that would be great.
Don't know, maybe?
I don't
Stay
know,
tuned.
but I know there's something in the works. Yeah.
So right now, Arnold, Missouri, and St. Louis Hills area, it's worth the drive, though. Look, I live down in Imperial, but I'm going to drive to St. Louis Hills. So we will travel and do things that will make us better. So, Bridget, I know. Maybe we can carpool together. Maybe we can go together. Stephanie, dynamic duo. I've received many compliments on how interesting the two of you are together.
Thank you.
We are. We're soul sisters. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Keep the questions, keep the comments coming in. And I also want to get into, because there are many of you seeing the weather and getting out and golfing. We talked about it last time, but I just want to keep hammering home. If you are an athlete, yet another reason why you want to get in and get stretch, how it will change your game. So don't go anywhere.
Hi, it's Monica Adams. Thank you so much for following along with The Real Monica Adams Show. But I wanted to let you know there's so much more that I could do with you, your business, your corporation. Did you know that I'm a motivational speaker all around the world, as well as an MC and an auctioneer? So if you have an event, maybe a nonprofit organization, and you want to book me, just shoot me an email, info@therealmonicaadams.com.
Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. So as we went into the break, I talked about the athlete mentality, right? To push, 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 push. Or I got pain. I've got injuries. I'm going to work through them. Wait till the season's over. Oh my gosh. And then there's so much that you're seeing that you're trying to correct. Yes, I understand the toughness in you, the mental toughness in you, but don't dismiss it and get in and watch what happens. So we've talked to you and others about how golf games have changed,
yeah.
but it's also, it's everything. Like you think about the trauma that happens in football. You think about our hockey players right now, baseball players, soccer, I don't care, cheerleading, right? Every aspect. Or let's even go to you that are getting ready to wrap up school and you're in band and the heavy, instruments they're carrying around. And then my mind went to when you talked about the purse, it is the way we carry things. So my team will always be like, Monica, give me that bag because I've got my laptop in there. I have a cart that when we have our shows, I put all the stuff in, but I should probably be having it every single day because when we have those heavy things, and you just think of women in general, we're throwing ourselves out of alignment, right? You see that?
I mean, everyone knows it. I mean, anytime anyone has gone on vacation and you're like hugging like any luggage or things that you have, it's the most miserable time of your life.
Yes.
So just imagine if you have to do that every day.
Yep, and we do, but we should. So let's address, before we get back to the athlete. So for those of you that are carrying computer bags around or you're carrying purses, should we be switching back and forth each day, or what should we do? What do you think?
I put everything on rollers.
Okay.
No, but I get that a lot.
But you're right,
From
probably.
the gym, I have 2 bags. I have my one bag of my change of clothes like 3 different times. But then my other one has my laptop, my shoes, my cycle shoe. When I would walk in the gym, there's always everyone like, what the? I'm like, I know. And then you like unload it.
Yep.
Yes, most people always generate the heaviest on their dominant side, and I would say it's out of sight, out of mind. You just do what you can to survive, and then you take the pain later. And then
We got to change that mindset,
yeah,
though.
the best thing is even in sports. Or even fitness in general, you do everything on your dominant side, but now we have to work the underdog, so.
So really it goes back to the idea of focus and awareness. I'll use awareness more so of, all right, I heard Monica and Trish say this. Obviously this is the side. And for me, when I get on the table, you're going to say, Monica, your right side. It's all this. Now it's in the low back. So I can feel that I'm carrying around heavier bags and unfortunately fighting through the old mentality of the athlete in me, fighting through the pain.
But think of it this way. When you drive, everyone has their dominant way of how they sit in the car, how they hold the steering wheel. And that is not even a thought in your mind that could be triggering how your back and how your gait is and how your hips are aligned, because we're constantly on our right foot. It's never going to change. It's always going to be on the right side of the power that you put in the car. So out of sight, out of mind, you're thinking it's where my purse is. I'm like, no, it's probably because you drive all that time. It could be just how you hold the cell phone. It's all of the things.
It is. And by the way, all those things that have added up, we need to take small steps, which is what we're discussing, to start to reverse all the things that we've done. So that pain, the discomfort we've been talking about today, again, no matter the generation, the athlete mentality, you want a better game. And you mentioned it last week. You've heard golfers say.
I don't think any, I wouldn't say any, but most of every guy that's in there, I'm like, so golf this weekend? And they're like, absolutely. And it's in their hips. I've had trained clients that they wanted to improve their golf game. And I'm like, okay, let me see your swing. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, all right, we have to work on that.
Because you're trying to get the rotation.
So it's like, let me see your iliacus and let's work on your psoas and just kind of, and it's tight. I mean, I've had the last few gentlemen that have been on the table for the first assessments. It's, as soon as I go out to that exterior, it's not good.
No, and by the way, if you continue to keep it to be tight, I mean, just your everyday moves are going to hurt you, and then suddenly you're going to be like, oh, I just pulled something.
It's something somewhere, because somewhere along the line, something's going to give.
And we dismiss these things. So I told her, from this bothering me, I asked Jim to give me a massage probably 2 or 3 times. I looked at him, I go, can you give me a massage? He goes, I'm not a professional. I'm like, just give me a massage, please.
Okay, I'm going to tell you this. The one thing I always feel it, and again, I stretch all the time. I work out. The one thing, if any women out there, I'm going to tell you, Christmas. When you are wrapping gifts, you have so many gifts. You're on the floor. You just put it out. By the 3rd gift, you're like, oh my
It burns.
Oh, it burns
Yes.
so bad.
It's
And
because of
that's-
well,
and that's what office workers feel like, but it happens, and it's that repetitive hunching over.
so we've done stories in news of always right around, well, actually two things. We always do the chiropractor right around the time of shoveling snow and how we should shovel. And then also Christmas present wrapping or birthdays, anniversary, whatever.
Yeah.
When you're wrapping gifts, make sure that it is not down like this, that you're supposed to have it up and you're supposed to be standing upright while you're doing it.
Oh,
but we don't.
No, we don't, because it's like
Can we
fast,
change these
fast,
things? We're trying to
fast.
drill this into your head. All right. We are going to wrap up. In our wrap up, do you feel like we need to do the healing book today? 100 Days of Healing?
Of course.
Okay. See, I think every time we're on, we're going to pick the
like, of
healing one.
course.
It just makes sense. We'll do that for you coming up in just a second. We'll also let you know, again, the memberships, where you can go, how you can get in touch with them. And again, cannot stress it enough. Your first stretch is free. So get in there and let them show you how your life can be.
What if you could start your day feeling loose, relaxed, and ready? Deep hydrotherapy right in your backyard. Relax with your family or friends, or work out with our Michael Phelps Edition Swim Spas. Worried about maintenance? We have factory-trained service nearby whenever you need it. Plus, we're here for you long-term if you have any questions or need to refill supplies. You can even test spas at our showrooms. Spas and More, A+ rated, locally owned for 20 years. We put the ah in spa.
And shout out to Angie Hess, by the way, from Spas and More. She was talking about the fact that a lot of these hot tubs now, these master spas, they have salt, just like your pools. People have changed over to a salt system. So that's something new as well. Check out the swim spas from Michael Phelps, the saunas, the cold plunges, the hot tubs. Again, do me a favor and support those that support us. I literally wrote her yesterday and said, it's time. So I think Jim's finally in agreement with me, even though this isn't our forever home. It is time to get the hot tub. It's time to get stretched. It's time to do all the things to feel better, right? There it is. That is the one I want, Trish, right there. Isn't that cool?
That is amazing.
Right? That's obviously separate, but the tub right there is the one I've been looking at for a while. But that's
Get the whole thing.
I'd like to. Yes, did you hear her? Tricia says, get the whole thing, Jim.
Come on, Jim.
Get with it, Jim. That's a Kovana. That what's lifting up there.
Okay.
So that's that also helps. By the way, she's right, Jim. That helps not having to do this with the cover
Yes.
constantly.
You're taking everything off your plate here.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. Okay, so we picked 100 Days of Healing because it just makes sense. Today is Healing in Community. So this is day 13 of 100 Days from Stephen Arterburn. If it's possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Romans 12, verse 18. So let's be honest. Sometimes when we're suffering from grief or illness, people in our circle say hurtful things. They give inappropriate or impractical advice, quote scripture at the wrong time, or minimize our situation. So we tend to shy away from the company of these people. It's also possible that we've isolated ourselves from the body of Christ because we have cherished our wounds or nursed our grudges. That's easy to do because we tend to shrink inward when we feel pain. It's counterintuitive, by the way, for most of us to seek community in times of anguish. Instead, we pull back in self-protection. Avoiding these tendencies doesn't mean we should fake emotions, rush our progress through the stages of grief, or not take time to heal from whatever we're suffering from. Rather, as we spend time with the Lord each day, we should pray for our hearts to remain soft and to avoid becoming bitter or cynical. Today, pay attention to the little ways you may have built walls around your heart. Ask God to make you aware of any actions or attitudes that might have taken you away from those who might serve you and those whom you might serve. So we say, Rick Warren, fellowship is a peace and a place of grace where mistakes aren't rubbed in but rubbed out. Fellowship happens when mercy wins over justice. Again, that's from Rick Warren. And then Dietrich Bonhoeffer said, a Christian fellowship lives and exists by the intercession of its members for one or another, or it collapses. Today's prayer, Heavenly Father, I confess my tendency to cut myself off from others when I'm in pain. I repent any anger, grudge, or bitterness I've held on to. Help me peel off any self-protection layers and show me small ways to launch back into fellowship. Amen. Yeah, and we're going to say that same thing with regards to the pain that you feel in the body. You all of a sudden just isolate yourself. You stay home and you're not with others, and you should be. So we're talking about key benefits today, again, with Tricia Rhodes, from the pain, the discomfort, the trauma, the older generation, enhanced flexibility and mobility, reducing the pain and the stiffness, better posture and function, improved circulation, gentle and safe approach, which is, again, people think it's going to hurt them. Nope, they're going to take care of you. Decreased tension, increased mobility, targeted relief, pain-free techniques, and improved recovery. All of these things when you get into Xist Stretch. So one more time, where are they? They're located for you inside of Xist Fitness in Arnold, which, by the way, if you're looking for a great gym, support them as well. And they have the Concord location and an Arnold location, but the stretch side is inside of the Arnold one, or the standalone is in St. Louis Hills at 5605 Hampton Avenue. Check them out, xiststretch.com and at Xist Stretch. Tricia, my dynamic duo.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right. I know you are, because a lot of people were like, well, when can I get into Trish? I know you're getting busy, but you still have some openings?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It's not going to probably mostly be at the time that you first request, but if you do it a week or two in advance, then you can get the time that you want. Otherwise, we'll let you know of the time that's available.
And is it best to call or schedule online?
What's great is you can schedule online for your first assessment. And then you also can call, but you also can text the number at the location as well.
See, they've made it so very easy for you to get in and get that first stretch. And then from there, decide which membership makes most sense for you. Okay. As soon as we wrap up, I'm going to ask her when she can get me on the table. And then I will go from there. I want you all to witness my own transformation, because there's nothing better than a before and after of a wow. Even in the 30 minutes that I see you stretching people, it's like, she pulls the leg up and it's like stopping right there because they're so tight. And then by the end, it's like, look at this flexibility. And that's the most amazing thing, but you got to feel it for yourself.
Absolutely.
All right, Tricia will be back with us next Wednesday. If there's a topic that you would like for us to discuss, just drop it into the comment section. We'll make sure that we see that for you. Otherwise, reach out to us and I'll make sure that I get the question to Tricia as well. Tomorrow, we'll be talking about women and wellness. We've got a really cool event that is coming up, and something that's going to be bringing a lot of attention to our area from a sports standpoint. It is an outdoor volleyball game. Yes. And from what I'm understanding, there should be a lot of cameras in town from a national press standpoint. So we're going to talk about both of those things tomorrow. All right. Don't miss that on a Transformation Thursday. Until then, be kind and God bless.
The Real Monica Adams Show is brought to you by Xist Stretch. Stop by for your free consultation and 30-minute introductory stretch today.